Do private trusts pay taxes? We're gonna get into that. I think it's a valid question. I understand how that question can be probably one of the first questions that is asked. A lot of people come in to this information from, the standpoint of being overburdened with taxes, being overburdened with debt, and I've heard the question many times. Hey, so, I know you're not a lawyer and you don't give legal advice. And I know you don't like to talk about taxes, man. And then proceed to ask me a tax question. But the trust pay taxes? Your private trust have to pay taxes? Short answer. It depends. It really does. What does it depend on? Well, you said private trusts. I'm talking to you. We're pretending. We're make believe. Like what was that, Mr. Rogers? Was it Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? The land of make believe they were talking about? I'm dating myself, I know. But let's make believe that you asked me the question. You were like, so, I know you got trustee training, you got the trust primer, you got the trust series. You talk about trust all the time, man. I'm actually kind of tired of it. To tell you the truth, I'm just being honest. No disrespect, but I'm tired of you talking about trust. Talk about someone else. You sound relatively intelligent. But ultimately, I wanted to ask you, do private trusts pay taxes? And I'm going to say, hey man, I don't be talking about taxes, man. No, I'm just playing. I'm going to say it depends. Now, in order to answer that question fully, so you can completely understand, which is my goal. My goal is that you completely understand them. I have to kind of give you a background. And that background consists of how the nature of a corporate structure works in relation to the nature of how a trust structure works and their similarities. So let's talk about Amazon.com, because this was in the news last year, how Amazon didn't pay any taxes. The company, the corporation, it didn't pay any taxes, but it made billions of dollars, and Bezos made billions of dollars, and everybody's making billions if you're dealing with Amazon. But it didn't pay any taxes. And people get upset about that, and they get irritated or whatever. But I just want to tell you, and I'm telling you this because, I'll just be honest. That's the way corporations were set up. If you're operating a corporation properly, you're not paying taxes. Here's why. If you look at Publication 535, which is an IRS publication, and it goes over corporate expenses, you'll see what are allowable expenses with the corporation. And when you're dealing with corporations pay their expenses first before any taxes. So these are called, deductions. People call them write-offs, so on and so forth. But this is what corporations do. Before any tax is computed with the corporation that's properly classified on the state and federal level, let me just say that too, they deduct the expenses that are allowable according to Publication 535, and then a lot of, allowable, fringe benefits, which ultimately are expenses. And then after they deduct the expenses and there's money or profits left over, typically what happens is that those profits, after all of the salaries to the employees, to the executives, and maybe they buy some new vehicles, and they upgrade some equipment, and all of the expenses of the corporation. After all of it's said and done, the remainder of the profits are passed to the shareholders through corporate distributions or member distributions if you're dealing with an LLC. Member distributions, which means the taxable income or the profits left over or the income that's left over for the corporation after all expenses that is taxable is actually passed to the shareholders or the members. So the corporation doesn't pay any taxes. Why? Because it doesn't hold on to any profits. It passes the taxable income and with it, the taxable obligation, or at the minimum, the reporting obligation of that taxable income to its shareholders and the member or the members if you're dealing with an LLC. That's how it's done. So the corporation pays no taxes. Yeah, it files a return, but it pays no taxes if it's done right. If it's done right, that's the way it's supposed to be. In the corporate world, you pay 0 taxes if you do it right, or very little. That's the way. That's it. You got to get, your accountants can't give legal advice. Your CPA can't give legal advice. So if you get the right attorney, they'll have you properly structured and set up. That's the way it's set up. Now, with that being said, you understand the structure of how a properly structured corporation does not legally pay taxes and how you can read about it in the news and be all upset about it, or maybe not have any real emotion, but at least read about it in the news like it's a story, like it really matters. And it doesn't. It happens all the time. So here's what we do. The IRS recognizes 3 different types of trust. Y'all probably heard me say this 100 times or something like that. But it's true, and I like to drill it in so, we can roger. You follow what I'm saying? IRS recognizes 3 types of trust. You ask me, so do private trusts pay taxes? I'm going to tell you because we're assuming it's a private trust, so we're assuming that the trust does not owe its existence to state legislation and is not under state jurisdiction, according to the contract, because we're private. We're assuming that. So that's all I'll say about that. But you're saying a private trust, it depends. I'm going to say straight up, it depends. It depends 100%. It depends on the administration. It depends on the trust indenture. But I'm going to get back 2 to 3 different types of trust. The IRS recognizes 3 separate different types of trust. The first one is grantor. The second one is simple. And the third one is complex. Now, there's specific rules to these specific types of trust. Allowances, whatever you want to call them. Now, really what it boils down to is a simple trust is a trust that must distribute all of its income currently. Generally, it cannot accumulate income, distribute out of the corpus, or pay money for charitable purposes. If a trust distributes corpus during a year, as in the year it terminates, the trust becomes a complex trust just for that year. Whether a trust is simple or complex determines the amount of a specific personal exemption. that applies in calculating the tax owed depending on how it is administered. A grantor trust is a trust over which the grantor has retained certain interests or control. The grantor trust rules in the Internal Revenue Code, Section 671 to 678, are anti-abuse rules. They prevent the grantor from taking tax advantages from assets that have not left his or her control. The anti-abuse rules treat the grantor as owner of all or portion of the trust. The grantor is subject to tax on trust income so treated, even if he or she does not actually receive the income. Ouch. So, grantor trusts sounds like they're paying taxes. It sounds like the grantor of the trust, or one designated as the grantor, is going to be on some sort of hook for some sort of tax liability. I'm not a lawyer or attorney. I don't know. I don't administer grantor type trusts. A complex trust is any trust that does not meet with the requirements for a simple trust. Complex trust may accumulate income, distribute amounts other than current income, and make deductible payments for charitable purposes. Under Section 642C of the Internal Revenue Code. Now, distribute income. So a simple trust must distribute all of its income. So it sounds like a simple trust doesn't pay taxes itself. Like I said, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not giving legal advice, man. It sounds like a simple trust is very similar to a corporation, how it would distribute its current income after expenses. So therefore, there'd be nothing left to tax. And that distribution would go to the beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries would then have to claim that income on their individual taxes. But we're talking about a private trust, and most people are trying to stay away from individual, right? So let's stay on point. Let's not play dumb. I'm not going to play dumb with y'all, all right? So, if we have a complex trust that can distribute and may accumulate income, it can distribute amounts other than current income, so it can distribute amounts other than, so including, these things need to be taken in consideration. So this sounds like, to me, it sounds similar to the corporate structure that we just discussed. Now, if a trust that's private, we're saying that it's operating according to the private contract indenture. If the trust that's private takes or deducts its allowable expenses according to its private indenture, and it has beneficiaries, and after said deductions, it disperses the remaining income for that calendar year or taxable year, whatever you want to call it, to its beneficiary or beneficiaries, and no longer has any taxable income, then there's nothing left to tax. It's very similar. It is dissimilar, but very similar to how the Amazon takes its expenses, everything else that's left over, it distributes it to the shareholders. Dividend. You get a dividend check. And then at the end of the year, shareholders get a K-1 or a 1099. It's actually a K-1. It's not 1099. And that K-1 acts as a 1099, acts as a W-2. And investors take that K-1, which shows how much dividends they received throughout that year, and they must show that to their accountants, claim that on their taxes, and however they deduct that or whatever. Now, what most people miss is structure and the proper system that goes along with it. Because I know what you're saying when you're asking me, do private trusts pay taxes? Off top, I'm going to say this. If it's private or not, if the trust deals in Federal Reserve notes, meaning the trust has a banking account in the United States at a bank, and it deposits and debits Federal Reserve notes and checks and from PayPal or your Amazon seller account or whatever you're doing, your Venmo, those are Federal Reserve notes. So the use of Federal Reserve notes must be reported. Trusts report the use of Federal Reserve notes on a 1041 trust return. Just because the use of Federal Reserve notes is being reported doesn't necessitate the tax. What happens is, through said reported use of Federal Reserve notes, what were they used for? Oh, this is expenses. Then what was used for? Well, the rest we used for disbursements to the beneficiaries. Oh. Now they, okay, cool. They mosey on to the beneficiaries. They, make sure your expenses line up, and then they mosey on to the beneficiary. In our case, I'm just going to tell y'all live on the air. In our case, we use a specific system where the trust owns the shares in the corporation or is the member of the LLC. Why not? There's a specific system of interrelating trusts that we use that allow us to mitigate taxation legally. No inflation of expenses, what is called as padding expenses. Oh, you bought this for $40, but you're trying to report that you actually paid $80 for it. Fraud. Good luck with that. I don't want no part of that. So do private trusts pay taxes? Was the answer. It depends. Okay, so let me do you a favor. Let me do all of us a favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restructure that phrase, that question. How about that? So L was good, was popping. Peace. I got a question for you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I know I asked you, do private trusts pay taxes? You said it depends. All right. Can I ask you another question? Yep. Go ahead, man. No problem. Is there a way for a private trust to be administered to where it owes no taxes? All right, first of all, I'm going to need you to repeat that question because that was beautiful. Is there a way for a private trust to be administered so that it can legally and lawfully report the use of the Federal Reserve notes and have no taxable liability or implication from year to year? Well, the answer is yes, absolutely. It depends on how it's administered. There's ways you can administer a private trust, private estate, and, these entities legally do not end up owing taxes. It's called tax avoidance. Look it up. Completely legal, 100% legal. What it means is, ultimately, and I'm paraphrasing, it's when one structures their affairs in a way to where they don't end up owing taxes. It means you set it up in a certain way and you do it in a certain way to the way that you've done your business through your structures. Is how you achieve the end goal of not having taxable events. It's not a situation where it's an evasion. Look it up. Evasion is completely legal. You've done business in such a way to where a tax is owed or is going to be owed, and you try to run back and evade taxes by saying, "Oh, we paid more for this," and we bought this too, and they paid us this, and we really didn't get this money, and we had more expenses, and trying to lie and say, "Well, we have more expenses. We don't want to pay that much taxes." It's too bad. You didn't structure your affairs properly before you did it. It doesn't matter if you want to have a great and wonderful, calm, relaxed, carefree drive on the countryside. If you didn't double check the tires and make sure that there wasn't this crazy softball-sized bulge in one of the front tires, and you just just driving down and stuff, hitting bends and stuff, and pow, and your nice little leisurely drive that you wanted ends tragically. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to do a lot of things. If you don't want to pay taxes, you got to learn the system of interrelating with trust. Interrelating. It's not just one. Typically, it's going to be a business trust, an asset trust, and a family trust that's going to make up the bulk, or at least the foundation, of your private estate. And the utilization, the administration of this specific system that you learn in trustee training is what's going to put you, quote, in the private, legally avoiding taxes, not biting your nails, calling the IRS, and having conversations with agents and stuff, and it being friendly, not freaking out when they call you back and stuff, because you know what you're doing. You understand the system. The wealthy in this country understand the system. You can too. I really think it's time. It's a new year, new you, new bread, new dance, right? Or at least add some new moves to the old dance. And it's a lot of people, they make New Year's resolutions. A lot of people are jumping into trustee training. Salute and shout out to the new trustees. Salute and shout out to the old trustees. But the biggest thing is look, I'm trying to keep more of the money I make, so I feel you 100%. But you gotta have proper. Well, how about this? How much money are you keeping? As much money that you want to, doing what you're doing right now? No, I am not. All right. Well, you gotta do something different. And in order to do something different, you must learn how to do something different so that you can do something different. And that's what trustee training is, player. It is. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's a requirement. It's not a thing where you just grab some information and sit on it. No, you grab information, learn stuff, interact, and do things. Set up your private estate. Open up that bank account. Set up the post office box. Restructure your stuff. Title that vehicle in an asset trust. Title the house in an asset trust. The land. All these different things. Bring your family together. Appoint them as trustees. Ask them if you want to be a trustee. Hey, you want to be a junior trustee? Hey, you want to be a protector? And then generate income. What you gonna do with the extra fiat that you're keeping from properly administering your private estate? What are you gonna do with it? You just gonna spend it? You gonna invest it? You gonna add to the corpus of your estate? What are you gonna do with it? And then we move on to the next, okay, what's the next one? What's the next move? What's the next one? I got this set up. Now what do? It's like you got to get the car first. You got to get it. Pull over. You are in a horrible car. Your car is whack. It's smoking. It's burning oil. Every time you got to add, look, it's costing you so much money and time, and it's embarrassing. Pull over. Get in the proper vehicles. Get in your private trust. Your private trust estate. And you won't have to ask me, hey, so do private trusts pay taxes? You'll already know the answer. It won't be something to where it's a question. It's a question at first. It's a question because you've never been through it. It's a question because you never sent the return in or filed the return and got any type of response back in that type of manner. That's why it's a question. It seems like some fantasy land stuff. Like this dude's over here in Candyland, man. Shoots and ladders and stuff. Them old games Pops used to play. This dude's on them right now. Calling himself Sot L. Talking about not paying taxes. I mean, this dude, it's okay. I believe you. I feel you. Paying no attention to the man behind the curtain, though. Oh, you can't do that. Ain't no such thing as you're listening to people who got a 12-step package and no education and just started doing what they know, not what they were taught, because they weren't taught anything. I can give you $1 million corporation right now. Just hand it to you. What you gonna do with it? I'll give you the paperwork. Here, sign this, sign here. Boom. Congratulations, you're the CEO of $1 million corporation. What's your first move? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? What's your first move? As CEO of $1 million corporation, what's your first move? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not trying to talk mess or be facetious or anything, but without proper education, how do you make proper moves? How does it happen? Explain it to me. And I don't know what school you went to where it was like, yo, we about to teach y'all how to, set up private entities through contract and, legally avoid taxes. Where that's at? Where that's at? I mean, is the IRS doing a class? They just came out like, all right, yo, check this out. It's been several hundred years and stuff. We're just gonna let y'all know how to legally avoid taxes. Internal Revenue Service, that's their job. Get that revenue. What is revenue? Your bread. Your energy that you exchanged into the currency. That you contract. Yep, I'll work for that an hour. Right? And they give you that an hour, and then here come this dude running up like, oh, you owe me 30% of that. Like what? Yeah. You want to see what it's in? You want to see what it's in? My family, you don't back up off me? You know what I'm saying? Throwing lefts and stuff. And now look, now you got a Fed charge. Throwing lefts at the IRS. It's I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's simple. It's blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to say it's not overly complicated. I'm not going to say that we the smartest people on the planet. A lot of us are very smart. What I will say is we are the people on the planet that has been withheld the most information from. And with specific information, with correct information correctly applied, it will change your life. It'll change your bank account. It'll change your money. It'll change your car. It'll change the clothes that you drive. It'll change the way you think. It'll change what you're thinking about at a red light, just sitting there. It'll change your options. You'll realize that it's just a game. Really. And it's a game that's played on us. It's a game that's played on the public. You give them real value of your labor. They give you fiat currency with no intrinsic value. and then take some of your fiat and call it taxes, and we supposed to be cool with that. Nah, man, get into private trustee training. Email me, admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Offering acceptance. I ain't trying to sell you nothing. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. Tell you what it is. Let you know. Like, look, you make your own decision. You know what I'm saying? People be like, so, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Tell me more. I don't want to tell you more. Go listen to a show or something. Listen to like a year of shows. Listen to like 8 shows. I'm not going to sit here and sell you on the reasons why you should join trustee training. If you don't understand and you don't understand, it's not for you. It's for those that can hear. That's who I'm talking to. That's who I'm fervently trying to get a hold of. Because, and part of me feel like I'm trying to reconnect with my people from, our past life, family members, ancestors, whatever, man. I'm out here. I got my stake in the ground. I got my scepter. I'm standing here. You know what I'm saying? I'm standing here tall, and I'm like anybody who's running up, like, look, I'm just trying to get away from their stuff, man. They tripping. And they stealing my life away from me. And, this is about me and it's about my family. And I'm going to do I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. I'm going to get you the proper structures if you're doing your dance. And if you pay attention to the training and you actually do the work and you look at this as history that you're making for your family estate, you're reestablishing the republic. This is what I'm saying. I'm talking about the democracy, the republic is out. Man, look, the republic, for real, didn't start but behind families. So you reestablish, if you want to reestablish anything, you got to reestablish the family unit. And the family unit finances is tore up. So the best way to get a start on that, the foundation is trust. Foundation is private contract trust. That's the foundation. That's why the name of the show is The Foundation. And that's why I jump on here, wax poetic about trust. I've seen the power. You ain't seen the power. Maybe you have, though. I ain't going to lie. I ain't going to tell you what you have and haven't done. I hate it when people do that to me. But I can tell you this. If you're not prioritizing learning this information on your own or getting into some sort of training or something like that, then, some things you can't believe unless you see them. And I understand that. I do. But, sometimes you got to be willing to take that leap of faith. Believe in yourself, moreover, that you have good discernment, that you know when someone's full of, full of excrement or actually popping off, Check the vibe. At the end of the day, you got to understand that you can do it. Hey, we got about a minute and a half left in the broadcast. If you're checking out online, you want to call in, you're going to get cut off. Call-in number. I know, 90 seconds. 563-999-3625. Once again, 563-999-3625. Otherwise, you will be disconnected. You have been advised. I'm not taking any callers. I'm not taking any callers. I love y'all, but I'm gonna wrap this show up and I'm gonna go do my dance. I'm gonna take my medicine, chill, drink some water. I hope y'all catch what I'm throwing. You're picking up what I'm putting down. I know a lot of things seem tough, It seems like we're doing so much. You don't have time. I ain't got time. That's done on purpose. You not having time is orchestrated. You not having money is orchestrated as well. But then once you understand that, then it becomes a choice. You follow what I'm saying? The system is set up to have you busy and not having a bunch of free time so you can do your dance. The system is also set up to reduce the cost of labor to its lowest amount. The system was also designed for people like us who look like us and talk like us and think like us to occupy the lowest economic positions, within the system. That's the way it's designed. Now, it's no fault of yours if you came up in this system ignorant, not knowing the design, the ultimate design of the system, falling victim to the promotion and the PR machine of the system, Hollywood and commercials and Leave It to Beaver and the Huxtables and stuff like that. The American Dream. And not understanding and being ignorant to the true design of the system, you became victim. I became victim. No fault of your own. But now that you know, now that you have a glimpse, now that there's a little bar, little piece of light shining through that dark corner over there, what you gonna do? You can't say that you didn't know anymore. You can no longer say that, I didn't know, I was ignorant. Now you got to move on. You got to be accountable, right? You got to say, okay, so be real. I don't have time and I don't have any money. I don't have enough money. Okay, well, you know that's the way the system is designed, to keep you there. That's the place where the system keeps us so that we are not advancing, so that we maintain our status quo and maintain the situation of us being the overall labor force of their institutions, their companies and corporations. But in order to step out of your current designation, of your current situation, you must acquire different knowledge. And after acquiring different knowledge, you must do things differently in order to create a different result. You no longer are the victim of circumstances and system design. You are now the creator of your economic, psychological, and emotional state. It takes work, it takes accountability, it takes sacrifice, it takes consistency, it takes dedication, it takes you being responsible and not crybabying and boo-hooing. And you will be rewarded. And you will be in control of your labor. You will be in control of your life, which allows for a certain level of satisfaction. Just being in control of your own labor, in control of your own life, and then creating an industry, creating your private estate, creating a system for your family to perpetuate what you just did for yourself, because that's noble. And go stunt on your family members, stunt on the people who didn't listen to you when you first got the information because you felt a certain way, because it hurt your feelings, because they didn't listen to you. I got this information. You didn't show them nothing. So you mad because they didn't listen to you, so now you want to stunt on them. Oh no, man, it's the training, you got a lot of work, I did a lot of reading, and court cases. You ain't trying to tell them now, you ain't trying to put them on. That's not noble. Noble is putting them on. That's family. Like, look, yeah, I know you didn't listen, you was hating on me, you was talking all that mess, but you family. Look, this is what we need, this is what we doing. And I'm gonna make you, a trustee of this asset trust, and then we're gonna go into business, and maybe